Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Dale of Merchants 2. This was sent to me by the designer Sami Laakso, and is designed by Sami Laakso, also art by them as well. Now, I reviewed the first Dale of Merchants way back in episode 8, and Dale of Merchants 2 is essentially a sequel, but can also be combined with the original game. So, I'm not going to go over all the rules, but there was one rule I messed up in that video, so I'm going to clarify that rule, and I'm going to go over some of the new stuff in here. A highly adaptive, competitive card game where only the smartest and most cunning merchant will get the post of the Trade Master. Dale of Merchants 2 can be played by itself or combined with the original Dale of Merchants for a huge variety. Are you ready to meet the new cast of Animal Folks? They offer a bunch of new, unique techniques you can use to get an edge in the competition. Let me show you some of the new cards and that one rule I messed up. So Dale of Merchants 2 has the same rules as the first game for the most part, where you're basically buying cards from a market and you're playing them and you're trying to sort of make stacks in your stall by adding up the values of the cards and putting them in sets. Again, watch the original review for that, but before you do that, let me clarify one rule I got wrong last time. In my original review, I messed up the whole market system. Now, if you see here, these +1, +2, +3, +4 values, what they mean is they add on to the value of the card itself. So this card just costs 3, but this one would cost 2, this one would cost 7, it's 5 plus the 2, and so on and so forth. Alright, now that I've explained the market correctly, you can go ahead and watch the original review for the rules on how to play. The next following sets of information are just rule clarifications that are new to Dale of Merchants 2. Now, a new clarification is regarding technique cards. You place technique cards in front of you for the duration of their effect. So for this cheer technique here, all players search their decks and may take a card from there and then place it into their hands, and all players shuffle their decks. Once you play it, you place it in front of you for the duration of the effect. Any cards here are on your schedule. They are not affected by other effects until they are fully resolved. In case effects of these cards resolve at the same time, you choose the order to resolve the cards one by one. That clears up any sort of timing issues. If you ever can't draw, take, or exchange the defined amount of cards specified in the effect, perform the action with the maximum amount of cards possible. If a card has a bonus action icon, you may do another action after resolving that card's immediate effects. The bonus action is awarded on the turn when a card is played, even if the card remains on your schedule and has a delayed effect. Like Ruthless Competition here. Take the top card from another player's deck and place it into your hand, then choose one card from your hand to place back there. Once you've done that, you can do another action. Now, in addition to drawing cards from your deck, taking and discarding cards also triggers forming of a new deck. However, searching your deck does not trigger forming of a new deck. If you ever need to search your deck, that doesn't make a new deck. So those are the only rule clarifications they've added. Now let's go into the different new animals. That's where the main change here. I'm not going to go through every single card for each class because it's part of the fun is kind of discovering it on your own. But first off, we got the experimenting platypuses. They're all about card control. Platypuses get the right cards into their hands at the right time. Rookies can grasp platypuses quickly, and experienced players like to try out new things with them. So, for example, here we get the Tireless Tinkerer. Take the top card from your discard pile and place it on top of your deck. Calculations. When you use this card to purchase, you may rearrange any cards in the market before the purchase. Safety precaution. Swap this card with any card from a stack in your stall. Place the new card in your hand. It's all about getting those exact cards you want. Next up, we have the Diligent Pale-Throated Sloths. They use delayed actions. They focus on efficiency in the long run. You gotta make plans if you don't want to waste their delayed effects. Feel free to include them even in your first game. Just don't expect to be able to unleash their full potential right away. So this guy, Steady Achiever. At the start of your next turn, draw a card from your deck and place it into your hand. Let me pull out some of the delayed effects, actually. Yeah, these are all about doing stuff on your next turn, like Shopping Journey. At the start of your next turn, choose a card from the market and place it into your hand. House Cleaning. Draw all junk cards from your discard pile and place them into your hand. At the start of your next turn, you may throw away one card from your hand. Siesta. At the start of your next turn, you may search your discard pile for a card and place it into your hand. Again, they're all about doing stuff, setting actions up for next time. The intimidating dwarf crocodiles are all about threatening and harassing. They bully other competitors by stealing their property and making threats. You should add these guys if you want interaction and conflict. So here's Little Villain. Other players discard 2 cards from their decks one by one. Scary Gunfight. When other players purchase cards, the cards in the market get a +2 to their price until the start of your next turn. And Night Shift. Take the top card from each player's deck, choose one of those cards to place back on top of each player's deck. They're all very interfering. Friendly Fennec Foxes are all about helping others, quote unquote. Foxes love to get everyone involved. Other folks are wary of their seemingly friendly gestures, but can't resist Fox's tempting aid. Playing with them requires skill, as timing is critical when trying to get the most out of these fellows. So here we got Cheer. All players search their decks and may take a card from there and place it into their hands. Then all players shuffle their decks. We got a Raffle. Choose left or right. All players take a random card from the hand of a player in the chosen direction and place it into their hands. Charity. Take a random card from each player's hand. Choose one of those cards to give back into each player's hand. The Reckless Marbled Polecats are all about taking risks, and they use this die here. No mountain is too tall or ocean too deep for polecats. These brave adventurers live for danger and aren't afraid of taking chances. Feeling lucky? Here we have Daring Adventurer. Roll the dice and throw away the rolled amount of cards in the market. Fill the market by drawing cards from the market deck. Rare Artifact. Choose and show another card from your hand. Roll the dice and multiply the chosen card's value with the rolled value for this turn. Risky Business. If you guess the top card's value from the market deck, show the card and place it into your hand. Otherwise, throw away the card. And finally, we have the Observant Snowy Owls. They react to others. Owls wait patiently for their target to make a move before making their own. They're great at adding more interaction between players and make sure you stay on your toes. Be sure to stay vigilant when playing with them. You may activate an owl card once each time its trigger happens, even multiple times in a turn. So like Ancient Knowledge. After another player has resolved a technique card, search your deck. You may discard one card from there, shuffle your deck. Binoculars. After another player purchases a card, you may draw a card from your deck and place it into your hand. Then discard a card from your hand. Extra Remarks. After another player builds a stack, you may search your discard pile for a card and place it on top of your deck. And those are the 6 new animal characters. But yeah, otherwise it's the same rules as the original game. So yeah, this is the same game as the first one because it's meant to be almost kind of like a standalone expansion. Just got a few new rules and the 6 new classes. So the new schedule system, it plays well. A lot of the crocodile cards will do an effect that will last for the whole round until your next turn. So it's interesting seeing how longer lasting effects can change things up. A rule that I actually found really interesting was the idea of searching your deck, not triggering a shuffle of the discard pile. I feel like in most deck builders, they're very casual about, yeah, just go ahead and make a new deck if you don't have one. But in this game, it's actually strict. So you can technically have 0 cards in your deck if they're all in the discard pile and not be able to do an effect. I thought that was interesting that the rule was distinctly laid out that way. As far as the new animals go, the platypuses and sloths are pretty standard fare, nothing too surprising. Crocodiles are extremely aggressive. If you don't like super mean and direct conflict in your deck building games, I would avoid using them because every single one of those cards is nasty. I thought the polecats would be too random with the dice rolling and other luck related cards, but they're actually pretty fun effects. None of the cards had bad luck results that were overwhelmingly detrimental, so they were actually pretty fun. The Snowy Owls have interesting passive effects, but I felt like they just added too much clutter to the flow of the game. Because the effects can trigger multiple times a turn, it's just constantly people going, my owl triggers, my, it's like, it interrupts the turn constantly. I like the concept of having cards in your hand that you have to pay attention for triggers, but it kind of added extra tedium for me on the turns. My least favorite of the bunch by far were the Fennec Foxes, specifically the cards that target everybody and make you swap random cards like Raffle or Charity. These cards are terrible. Having these cards in the game completely disrupts people's strategies constantly, and it made one game last agonizingly long. Like, just nobody was having fun by the end because people's cards were constantly getting switched around. In this game where it's all about getting the exact right values to place down, if your cards keep getting taken from you, it's fucking aggravating. So with the introduction of these new mechanics like the owl passive effects, the round robin random cards, and the long lasting scheduled technique cards, there's more complexity, which can be fun just to add some new ideas to the game, but it can also inadvertently make the game drag. And part of what I loved about the first Dale of Merchants is that it was solid, thinky, but also quick. And a few of these new cards have the potential to make the game definitely overstay or outstay its welcome. Now, luckily, because 1 and 2 are completely compatible, you can pick and swap which animals you use, so it won't affect your enjoyment too badly if you plan on getting both. I would recommend, if you had to pick only one, to get the first set, only if you want one. But, like I said, the gameplay's still good, the art is beautiful, it's still solid, but I like the first one better just because some of the cards in this one really pissed me off, but it's definitely worth getting if you're a fan. Otherwise, I'd go for the first one.